thriller books where the plot is so tense, you're gonna want to read these in one sitting. What's up, friends? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. This video today is going to be all about thriller books that have plots that were just so intense and so engaging that they're bingeable. It makes the book bingeable. You're not going to want to put it down. And honestly, I loved every single one of these. I have 6 thriller books. Let's get right into it. Starting off with my most recent obsession. I read The Push by Audrain, and I just was obsessed with the whole entire vibe of this book. This is everything I look for in a psychological thriller. This plot is in fact extremely tense, and I did in fact read it in one day. I could not put this book down, and it is just so extremely emotional. It follows a mother who, in her postpartum state, she starts to suspect that something might be wrong with her daughter. The story in itself is a roller coaster of emotions, like from the very first page, and it just doesn't let up. The whole time you're considering, is this child really showing psychopathic tendencies, or is the mom just out of her mind in her postpartum state, which is honestly a real thing when you're going through so many emotions and hormones after having a child. Like, you're not the same, your mind is not the same. And so the way that played into the plot of this book was just so incredibly well done. It is dark, it is sinister, it is part psychological thriller and part will rip your heart out, especially as a mom. One of the blurbs on the back of this book says, "It hooks you from the very first page and will have you racing to get to the end." That's honestly exactly how I felt reading this. This also is an older book. I feel like a lot of people have probably already read this one, but if you haven't yet, you need to get it on your TBR. I wanted to read this one for a really long time, and for some reason it just took me forever. And yeah, I became obsessed with it. I'm starting with this book because it led me to read the next few books, because I was craving the same vibe that I got from this one. And so let me show you what I found. The second book that I found that had a very similar vibe is Baby Teeth by, I want to say her name might be pronounced Zoje Stage, but I'm not sure about that. This has the same tense, creepy, and unnerving vibes as The Push, but it does slightly lean a bit more on the horror side, but I personally would still consider this a thriller. This is another one that explores a mother-daughter relationship. It follows the mother, whose name is Suzette, and she is on the verge of a mental breakdown with her daughter. Her daughter is 7 years old, and she has been homeschooling her because Hannah just can't keep herself in check when she's in school. She keeps getting expelled. But on the sinister side of things, Hannah is doing these really strange things at home that are putting the mom on edge. The child is doing things that are really sus. The difference with this book is that you actually also get the point of view of the child, and you quickly learn that she does not like her mother, and she believes that her mother is standing in the way of her and her father's relationship, and so she wants to do anything that she can to get her mom out of the picture. When comparing this one to The Push, this one has less psychological speculation and more like unnerving tension, because you actually know what the child's intentions are in this book, and that takes it up a notch in a way. But I'm telling you, I got the exact same vibes from this book that I did from The Push. If you liked that one, I think you'd really enjoy this one too. I also learned that there's a sequel to this book that I want to get to soon, so I'll have to get to that one and report back, but this one is definitely worth a read. Moving on to a book that has such high tension in a way that is not a mother-daughter relationship. There's no family dynamic here. This is just pure terror and claustrophobia. Her Last Breath by Taylor Adams. This is a brand new release, and I ate this one up. This is nail biting. It follows 2 friends who have agreed to go on a cave diving adventure. One of the friends does this all the time. The other one doesn't and is pretty scared of going down there, but she decides that they're gonna go and have a good time anyway. So they gear up and they dive down into this cave that is so claustrophobic. The spaces they have to squeeze through are really, really small. And although they're having fun, the atmosphere is very, very tense in this book. During their descent, they discover that there's another caver inside of the cave that seems to be following them. And first it appears to be quite innocent until suddenly he begins to harass the girls. Since he is following them down, the only way away from this man is to continue going lower. The tension in this book is just insane. Eventually one of the girls ends up stuck hundreds of feet below the ground, fighting for her life in an extremely small and tight space. And we go through the story of how they got there, like everything that happened leading up to that point. And it is so twisty. It really kept me on the edge of my seat. My mind was very focused on, okay, where is this gonna go? Because it can honestly go in any direction, and I just had no idea what the twist was gonna be, and it was such a good book overall. Highly recommend. I'm pretty much a fan of everything that I've read from Taylor Adams before, so when I heard he was coming out with a new one, I was really excited, and this lived up to the hype for me. Next, I have a book that I read quite a while ago, but I have not forgotten about it since. Like, this one stuck with me. Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. This one follows a woman named Poe. She is a podcast host, and on her podcast, she invites people to anonymously come onto her show and admit crimes that they've committed to her audience. This one gets crazy when a guest comes onto her show and admits to being the person who unalived her own mother several years ago. Only the crazy thing about this is that Poe was under the impression that the man that murdered her mother is dead because she was the one that got her revenge on him. So here we go into a speculation of, did she kill the wrong man all those years ago? Or is this guy lying? Or what is this? But it turns into a cat and mouse chase, and the entire book is just very high tension. As a matter of fact, every single person that I've recommended this book to has said that they have flown through it, and it's actually quite a chunky book for a thriller especially, but this is, I swear, this is the type of book that you blink and you're suddenly halfway through it. It has 404 pages, like it's quite a bit, but I'm telling you, somehow you will just fly through this book. It is worth the read, and I didn't feel like it was too long at all. I just really thoroughly enjoyed this one of my favorites for sure. The next one I have is also a recent read. This one is called Our Kind of Cruelty by Araminta Hall. I had never heard of this author or this book until I was on Google searching for books that are similar to The Push, and this was one of the ones that was recommended, although this is nothing like The Push. However, I'm so glad I read it. This book, let me see if I could explain this. It's told from the point of view of the male main character. His name is Mike, and he's telling us this entire story about how he met and dated and was completely in love with a woman named Verity. He and Verity used to play this game together that they called The Crave. It involved situations where they would go into a bar together and she would purposely get another man to flirt with her just so that Mike can come and break that up and be like the rescuer and they can leave together. That was like this random game that they played that they thrived upon. But we have hit some lumps and bumps in the relationship, and after not returning his calls and messages for a while, Verity is now engaged to marrying someone else. But Mike, as obsessed with her and as delusional as he is in this entire story, he thinks that this is just part of their crave game, that she is gonna go off and marry this guy and that he needs to be the one to come and rescue her from that, so that they can ride off into the sunset together. I might be making this sound silly. This had me on the edge. I was so into this book and this story, I honestly couldn't put it down. It did a super, super good job of putting me back and forth between, is bro delusional or am I delusional? This one was a lot of fun. It's told in 3 parts. The part of their relationship when they were together, the part of her getting ready to marry another man, and then the 3rd part, which is a trial in court. Very mysterious, very well done, great storytelling. I really enjoyed this book. The last one I have is another well-known, this is classic as a tense thriller. I feel like it's very well recommended. It's Gray After Dark by Noelle W. Ihli. This book is awesome, but it has insane trigger warnings, so if you're sensitive, make sure you check trigger warnings. If you're a thriller reader and you're sensitive to anything, I always recommend checking the trigger warnings before you just go into a book because someone said it's good. I read some really dark crap, so this is very dark. It follows a girl named Miley who takes a summer job out in a wilderness camp. Each day she wakes up and goes on a run through the forest. But one day she runs into some extremely bad luck and she is captured by these 2 men who are absolutely insane, and they are survivalists. They are living out in the middle of nowhere and surviving off the land, and they take her and bring her back to their cabin and hold her captive there. We follow Miley and her terrifying story and everything that she goes through in that cabin, everything that she does to try and keep keep herself alive, to try and escape, to do whatever it is that she can to get out of the situation that she's in, and it's incredibly intense. This one is also just super tense, very pulse pounding. This is actually inspired by a true story, which brings the tension to a whole nother level. This is just such a crazy story. To think of this like really happening is mind-boggling. This is, however, just such a well done, well told story. Fits the description of tense and can't put it down super, super well, and I highly recommend. I enjoy all of this author's books. I haven't read a single one that I haven't enjoyed, and this one, I would say this one is my favorite of hers so far. And there we have it, friends. Those are the 6 books that I wanted to talk about in this video today. I'm looking forward to doing more videos just recommending thrillers. I feel like a lot of the time with YouTube, I find myself like plotting out like what should I do for another video. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna start grabbing great books off my shelf and sharing them with you guys because that's what I love to do. So if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought. If you read any of these after watching this video, please come back and let me know what you thought. I love chatting it up in the comments, and these are some really great books. I want more people to give these books more attention. So that's it for this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I am so grateful for every single one of you, and I will see you in the next video.